the summer before I started college, I decided to be a rabbi. People always ask rabbis, when did you decide to be a rabbi? They're really asking, like, was there a woo moment? There's no woo moment. But it was between the time I graduated high school and the time I started college that I decided I was going to become a rabbi. And so, shortly before I went to college, I came to my family at lunch one day, and my grandmother Rose was there. Some of you knew her many years ago. And I made the announcement, I'm going to become a rabbi. And my family was horrified. Mortified. Miserable. And it was almost like they were playing out the cliche joke, it's not a job for a nice Jewish boy. And did I know what I was getting myself into? And did I know I wasn't going to make a lot of money? And I was going to have 18 million bosses who would be crazy and act out on the rabbi, and why was I ruining my life like this? And I was flabbergasted. It never occurred to me that would be their response. I thought there'd be bells and whistles, and they'd bring a cake, and they'd celebrate. I didn't know. They went into mourning. And the reason I was flabbergasted was I grew up with Judaism all around me. Everywhere I looked in my family, there was deep, profound commitment to Judaism. My mother's father, my maternal grandfather, had smicha, which is Orthodox, an Orthodox rabbi. He got his smicha from the Slobodka yeshiva in Lithuania, one of the greatest yeshivot of Eastern Europe. And he came to America to be a rabbi. Okay, he didn't like being a rabbi in America. He didn't like the congregation. Didn't like the way the president spoke to the rabbi. But he remained, even though he left the rabbinate, he remained a committed, learned Jew. He put on tefillin every morning. I grew up watching my grandfather in his T-shirt, wrapping the tefillin around his arm, and with his siddur, he's reading and praying. And he took me to the shul around the corner. And I got exposed to what is now called open orthodoxy, way before the term was ever coined by Soloveitchik. And on my father's side, my father's father, my paternal grandfather, Jacob S. Golub, was a pioneer in Jewish education in America. And one of my biggest, I took such pride in the fact the Jewish Encyclopedia had my grandfather in it because of what he contributed to Jewish life here. And he was also a colleague of the greatest single force in 20th century Judaism, Mordechai Kaplan. They were friends. Jacob Golub helps Mordechai Kaplan found the SAJ, the Reconstructionist Movement, the Reconstructionist Magazine. He's on the editorial board of the magazine. You know, Ira Wolf gets me the old editions of the Reconstructionist. There's my grandfather's name. And my parents, my father, was everything about his, he was a dentist, he was involved in all kinds of things. But Jewish life, from when I was a very little boy, My father was responsible in large measure for the first synagogue in Trumbull, Connecticut. He was the lay leader. He was the lay rabbi. When on weekends, every other weekend, the rabbi would come up from JTS, a student rabbi. He would stay at our house. It was the poor guy, because he had to deal with my father, who had very strong opinions. But when the rabbi didn't come, my father led the service, and I was his chazan, I was a cantor. And from my earliest memories, I'm talking really early. And you know, when you remember something from your early childhood, it's not clear. Are you remembering it because you saw a picture, a photograph, or do you really remember? It doesn't matter. I experience in me the earliest memories. I'm a child. My father was president of something called YPL, the Young People's League out of the SAJ. And they would have retreats. We go to Camp Sedgwin and big dinners. And then they would sit on a lawn under a tree, just like the rabbis did in Tiberias centuries earlier. And some of the greatest rabbinic minds, these young people at the time, would stand up and teach. Robert Gordis, who became the greatest biblical scholar of the late part of the 20th century. You know him from his grandson, Danny Gordis. Robert Gordis is here teaching. Harold Schulweis, who becomes the single greatest innovator of conservative Judaism as a rabbi. He's part of the gang. It's a young gang. It's ideas and understanding what Judaism really is. And I'm there, and my father's teaching. And Harold Schulweis has a wife named Malka. And Malka Schulweis is my first babysitter. Oh, did I love Malka. She was my first love. I carry her with her even to this day. You remind me of Malka, by the way. It's interesting how life works. And then they're surprised that I'm going to become a rabbi? And it's because they forgot how it works. Here's how it works. We're influenced by the way we're brought up. We're influenced by the people around us. We're extremely influenced by people we love. Family, to be sure. Intimate family, to be sure. Extended family, to be sure. And, David and I grow up in this home. And the other thing that's so true about it, my mother and father were hardcore liberal Democrats. And they were passionate about social justice. And I become a rabbi, and if you know anything about David and Kathy, the way they have lived their life and the things they stand for, it's not a surprise. It comes out of who we were as children and who our parents were. And that's how it works. Maimonides has a great line. Maimonides says, we are all influenced in life by the people who touch us. And therefore, Maimonides says, try to find, his words, just and wise people, and gravitate to them, and spend as much time as you can with them, and stay away from the wicked. Find lovely, committed people. Find the idealists, those who find cynicism to be a sin, who have this messianic vision of a better life for everybody. Be with them, says Maimonides. It rubs off. It's about whom we rub up against. In Pirkei Avot, one of my favorite lines is, step up and choose a friend. Step up and choose a friend. And be a friend, somebody else has to steps up to be your friend. That's what the Jewish tradition is all about. And in some way, that's exactly what Kol Nidre is about. And the High Holidays as a whole. Who do we want to be near? And who are we that other people are near? And what we remember on the High Holidays is all those people who in our lives, no matter how old or young anyone in this room is, the span of one's life doesn't matter how long. Who are the people who help us become who we are in the finest sense? And we are linked to them on Kol Nidre. We appreciate them on Kol Nidre. They are with us on Kol Nidre. And they're with us through memory. Both those who are past and those who are still with us, who may not be in this room or who may be in this room. We appreciate everyone who's helped shape our dash of life. And that's why the Jewish tradition is so adamant about the importance of memory. The Jewish sense of history is very interesting. We're all at one moment going on a journey. Past, present, and future are on a journey together to a messianic ideal goal of a society that is just and kind and loving. And we are to remember those who, when I say came before us, they still may be with us, but they're older than we are. And they are to be remembered today. Memory is critical. That's Kol Nidre Eve. No one wants to be forgotten. No one wants to be invisible. No one wants to be Mr. Cellophane. Everyone wants attention to be paid, to be seen and heard and experienced and understood, and to be embraced in this extraordinary I-thou relationship. That's what tonight is about. Tonight we are linked. Everybody has a life that begins and ends. And the Jewish tradition doesn't care. It only cares about what do we make of our life. It's all about the dash. And the dash is informed by another dash of Martin Buber, who talks about the most important thing any of us can do: relate profoundly, intimately with another human being. It's all about people in the Jewish tradition. It's all about the dash. And the question on the entire High Holidays, the theme of the High Holidays is, what have we done with our dash? And we remember, and we honor, and there's a sense of gratitude. And by the way, there is an edge to memory, because sometimes it's remembering someone we lost who was beyond precious to us and who no longer shares the world with us. And so when you talk about life and death and meaning and memory, it can be painful. Spend a lifetime, and a lifetime has nothing to do with how many years. You spent a lifetime together, and then it ends. And it's life. Nobody did it to us. Life is so complicated. It's also what we recognize on Yom Kippur, Kol Nidre, there is pain in life. For all the joy that Judaism celebrates, there's also pain and loss. The Jewish tradition does say, in the dash, even the dash of those who are no longer with us, even the dash of those who died too young, much too young, after the initial hurt, part of which never goes away, what is left is the memory of what that dash was, of that remarkable human being who gave so much love and joy and symbolized love and joy for us. And what the Jewish tradition says is, we will live our life after loss, paying tribute and honor to the dash of their lives. The Jewish tradition, it's no secret, the Jewish tradition pays very little attention to what happens in the, quote, afterlife. Is there there's no hell, that's nice. And heaven is not at all what it is in other religious traditions. There are no virgins. There's no lot of food. Get to study Torah 24 hours a day. Oh boy. The Olam Haba. And the idiom in the Jewish tradition is, may your portion be increased in the Olam Haba. What is the Olam Haba? We don't know. We care about this. We care about life. And when someone we love passes, the tradition says, you memorize every feature. You memorize every fiber of goodness and let that inspire you. And you pay tribute to that person by how you live your life. How you live your life. And in the end, it's all about the relationships we create. Each of us asked to give as much meaning as we can to that little dash. By the way, there is one fascinating feature to this dash. It turns out there's something called dash envy. People worry their dash isn't as big as someone else's. And it's really not about big, it's about important, valuable, meaningful. My dash is that guy's dash. Whoa. I want his dash. I want her dash. No. Where there is dash envy, it misses the point of the metaphor. Every dash is identical. It has nothing to do with the grand stage of life. It's not about being famous. It's not about being a Pulitzer Prize author, a great painter. It's not about being Leonard Bernstein. It's not about being Andre Agassi. It's not about being anybody else. The dash of our life is ours. And it has nothing to do with accomplishment. It has to do with quality of soul. And when it comes to quality of soul, anyone can build and infuse a dash with extraordinary meaning. There's a lovely midrash that the rabbis tell on Yom Kippur. It's the drash about Reb Zusia. And Reb Zusia is weeping in a classroom. Weeping. And his students say to him, "Why are you weeping, Reb Zusia?" He says, "I imagine that I was standing before the throne of heaven, and I was asked, 'Zusia, why were you not like Moses?' And I realized I wasn't like Moses, and I wept." And he keeps weeping, and they said, "Why are you still weeping?" He says, "Because I imagine myself in front of the throne of heaven, and this time I'm asked, 'Zusia, why are you not like Akiva?' And I realized I wasn't Rabbi Akiva. And I'm weeping with regret." And then he starts bawling. And the students say, "What?" He said, "This time I imagine myself before the throne of heaven, and I wasn't asked why I wasn't like Moses. I wasn't asked why I wasn't like Akiva. I was asked, 'Zusia, why were you not Zusia? All that you could have been, why was any of it wasted?'" That's the Jewish perspective. It's not about comparing oneself with anybody else. Every individual is a world in and of him or herself. Every individual is indispensable, which is why the Christian says when someone does pass, the world is diminished forever, because that person will never be replaced. We are irreplaceable, says the Jewish tradition. Not in what we accomplish. By the way, Jews try to accomplish an awful lot, but that's not what tonight is about. Tonight is about quality of soul and how that dash in somehow, some way, some mysterious way, evokes in us the still small voice that resides in every human heart and soul and prompts us to be as giving, as loving, as caring, as just, and as lovely as we can possibly be. That's Kol Nidre. And in one moment, we chanted 3 times. In our first chant, may it be soft and expressive of humility. We regret every opportunity missed to help another person. Every opportunity missed to enter into a meaningful, intimate relationship, I-thou, to one degree or another. Every opportunity missed to heal, to try to end loneliness. Regret because the Jew is truly sorry. We're sorry tonight for all we did not do that we could have done. And then we will commit to filling our lives, the dash of our lives, with as much caring about other people as we possibly can. We will not neglect. We will not forget. We will not leave out. We will include. And we will free every slave. And we will fight injustice. And we will move this world a step closer to the Messianic vision. And we will love the people who have made us who we are and who share this world with us and whose loveliness elevates us and informs our own dash. And the third rousing, powerful chant of Kol Nidre is our promise. The promise for what we are going to be and create in this year that will link us, not simply to 2 years on either side of a dash, to generations. Tonight is a night that transcends time. It links not people, but generations. All those who have helped us be who we are, we remember and honor. And in the Jewish tradition's poetry, we remember those who are here with us, those who are not here with us and once were, and those who are still yet to come. We also create a legacy by our lives that affects our children and the next generation and generations yet unborn. That's the Jewish vision. We will connect, our dash will connect a transcending connection that transcends generations and binds children to grandchildren, children to parents, parents to loved ones, parents to children, parents to grandchildren, even to generations yet to come. Who we are and the quality of soul of our dash will have a profound impact in helping the future of our people be as lovely and caring and gentle as they possibly can be. The 3 chants of Kol Nidre, may it start the last day of this 10-day journey in a way that elevates all of us and energizes all of us as together we build a new year. We all say,